Hello everyone, welcome to our series of history lecture. Today we are going to discuss one of the most important topic, the first war of independence. You see that this first war of independence of 1857, which is called by the British as the Sepoy Mutiny. Okay, so the British, they called it Sepoy Mutiny, while the Indians, they call it Revolt of 1857 as the first war of independence. So as far as this revolt is concerned, between 1757 to 1857, when for the first time British, after the Battle of Plassey, they got Bengal, and then they kept on annexing the territories of Indian on the pretext of one or the other. They captured most part of India. So the rulers of India, they were feeling very disgusted with the British policies. They were fed up of these policies of expansion of British, and many of them tried to revolt. So during this time, many of the revolt took place, but these revolts were confined to that particular area only and could not take shape of entire revolt of entire nation. But this first war of independence was one of the revolt which spread in many parts of India. That is why Indian historian, they say that it was first war of independence because it spread in many parts of India and most people participated in this. So first of all, we have to discuss what were the causes of this revolt, why this revolt took place. So among these different causes, first one, political causes. As far as the political causes are concerned, the first and one of the most important cause was doctrine of lapse. You see that this policy of doctrine of lapse was introduced by Lord Dalhousie. And according to this policy, Lord Dalhousie declared that if any of the Indian kings dies without a natural heir, if he dies without a son, then they will not be allowed to adopt a son, and their territories will be taken away by the British. So in that way, when this doctrine of lapse was passed, it brought lot of uneasiness among the Indian kings, because many of the kings, they were not having their own son, they were not having their natural heir, and that is why they had adopted their sons and they used to become their heir. But from here onwards now, if any king dies without a son, then their territories will be annexed by the British. So on the basis of this doctrine of lapse, many of the territories were taken away by the British. So many territories which were taken by them were Satara, Nagpur, then Jhansi, Sambalpur, Jaipur, Bhagat, Udaipur. So many of these territories were there which were annexed by the British. So all the territories which were annexed by the British, the ruler of these territories, they became a staunch enemy of British and they wanted to get back their territories, and that is why these all kings participated in the revolt of 1857. Another cause was annexation of Awadh. Awadh was annexed on 7th February of 1856 on the ground of maladministration. And the Nawab Wajid Ali Shah of Awadh, he was taken and arrested and taken to Calcutta, where he remained on very meager in pension, as well as thousands of talukdars, zamindars, their land was also taken away, as well as the huge military of Awadh, who had played an important role in helping the British. They all became unemployed. Nawab himself was very loyal to British, but he was suddenly removed. So that is why his wife Begum Hazrat Mahal became very active during the time of revolt, and all the people who had become unemployed because of British policies, because of annexation of Awadh, they all very actively participated in the revolt. So this Awadh was one of the main center of revolt of 1857. Then you see that discourtesy shown to Bahadur Shah Zafar. British, they said that in 1849, Lord Dalhousie, he said that Bahadur Shah, after the death of Bahadur Shah Zafar, his successors, they will not be allowed to stay in Red Fort, and they have to vacate Red Fort and go to outskirt of this Qutub Minar. In that place they have to live. So this was a discourtesy shown to him. As well as in 1856, Lord Canning, he said that these successor of Bahadur Shah Zafar, they won't be allowed to use the imperial title. They will not be allowed to use the royal title of king. It means they will lose this honor of using king or royal title. So when the revolt of 1857 took place, Bahadur Shah Zafar, he led the movement. He was the main king who became the leader of this revolt, and because this discourtesy was shown to him, and that is why he wanted to get back his honor, and he wanted to become one of the important person to play his role in this revolt. Another cause was absentee rule of the British. You see that the British royal family, they, in the name of British royal family, they were ruling. No actual ruler was here. All the money was taken away to Britain. You see that other kings, Muslim kings, they came here, they settled down here, and they did not take this money anywhere. This money was spent here itself. But the British, they were ruling as a absentee ruler and taking away huge amount of money to Britain. So Indians were very much dissatisfied with this absentee rule of the British, and they wanted to remove British from India at any cost. That is why it became one of the cause of revolt of 1857. Then this administration of British, it was very unpopular. The British were not easily approachable to the Indians. The British, they had a great contempt for the Indians. They do not consider them as equal with British. So there was lot of discrimination against the Indian. They were not given higher posts. Higher posts were reserved for the British. Indian could get only lower positions. As well as English language was also not very popular among the Indians. They were not knowing English, so it became very difficult to have conversation with them and to tell them their problems. So this was creating lot of chaos. So administration was not people's friendly. They do not have any touch with the common people, and they continued to follow these policies, and because of this British unpopular British administration became very unpopular, and people took chance to remove British when the revolt of 1857 took place. So these were some of the important political causes. Then some other causes were socio-religious causes. So far as the religious and social causes are concerned, there was the fears regarding to mass conversion to Christianity. Actually, British had started preaching of Christianity at each and every place by passing this Charter Act of 1813, which allowed to preach Christianity. So that is why there was the presence of these Christian missionaries in schools and colleges, in prison, in public places. Everywhere they were preaching the Christianity. They were alluring the youths to convert to Christianity in exchange of jobs and money. So thousands of Indians, they were converting to Christianity because of the offer made by these Christian missionaries to them. So it created a great concern among the Indians, and they were alarmed because of the presence of Christian missionaries at all the places which were involved in converting the youths into Christianity. As well as in 1850, Lord Dalhousie passed an act, and according to this act, if a person is converted to Christianism, then still he can inherit the property of his parents. Earlier it was that if you convert to any religion, then you will lose the ownership, you will lose the claim over the property of your parents. But by passing this act, now these converts, they can inherit their ancestors' property. They will not be removed from that property. So in that way, it was also a step to encourage conversion. If anyone is converted and if he is afraid that I will lose all property, so they allowed them to take property even if they are converted. Then British had passed various social reforms. So although if we see in present context, they had passed various acts against these social evils. For example, they abolished sati in 1829. Lord William Bentinck, he abolished sati in 1829, as well as Widow Remarriage Act was passed in 1856 by Lord Dalhousie. So in that way, these acts were passed to abolish these social evils. But at that time, society was very orthodox, and people took it as the interference in their social and religious matters. They thought that British are interfering in our religious affairs. They are passing these acts and they are not allowing us to practice our religion. So that is why there was great alarm among the masses, and it became one of the cause of this war of independence. Another cause was that British had introduced railways and telegraph. So after this introduction of railways, now huge number of people could travel in the compartment from one place to another place, but the people, especially the religious orthodox section, they considered it as the interference in their religious matter, because in a railway compartment, people from all section, they will travel together, and in that case lower caste people, upper caste people, they all will mix, and upper caste people, they did not like this idea at all of mixing of low caste people. Low caste people at that time, they have to maintain a certain distance from the higher caste. They cannot sit together with the upper caste people. But introduction of railway removed this obstacle. So that is why it was also considered as interference in their religious matters, and brought the danger of becoming impure sitting with the lower caste people. Telegraph poles were considered as some of the bringing some evil in their society, or some considered is that these telegraph poles will be used to hang the people who fail to convert to Christianity, who refuse to convert to Christianity, or who did not obey the British rule. So they thought that this telegraph pole will be used as hanging the people. Then ill treatment to the Indians. As we discussed that Indians, they were not given equal treatment. They were considered as inferior. British considered them as far superior to Indians. They had passed various indignities hurled at the Indians. Somewhere it was in Agra, at these places, they said that if any Indian is passing on the horseback and British officer come, they had to go down and say salam to him. As well as if British officer is passing, no Indian could pass without saying salute, giving salute to him, like this. So racial discrimination was there, as well as indignities were held at the Indian. So it became one of the cause of revolt of 1857. Then there was the resentment among Hindu and Muslim priests. You see that British had introduced English education, and because of the British education, the Pandits and the Maulvis, now they became jobless. Their importance has gone down. New schools, English schools were opening. English was introduced. Later on, it became medium of instruction also. Offices, it became one of the language to work. So that is why those who were Hindus, they were confined to their gurukuls. Muslims, they were confined to maktabs and madrasas. And here the monopoly was of these Maulvis and the Pandits. Now this monopoly has gone. So there was a lot of resentment among Pandits and the Maulvis, Muslim priest and the Hindu priest, against the policies of the British. So they started instigating the people against the British of introducing English education and interfering in their cultural and religious affairs. So it led to first war of independence. Then the other most important cause of this revolt of 1857 were economic causes. So these economic causes were most important causes of this revolt of 1857. You see that there was the decay of cottage industries and handicraft industries. There was great demand of Indian handicrafts goods in Britain. But with the passage of time, this demand increased because there was the industrial revolution in England, and they now started producing these cotton textiles in huge quantity, and they needed the raw material for their industries, as well as they needed the market of their finished products. So India became a main supplier of raw material to them, and it became a main market also for their finished products. So that is why the British, they had increased the taxes on Indian goods. Till now there was a great demand of Indian handicrafts, calicos, silk, all. But in 1720, British had passed an act, and according to this, they put heavy taxes on Indian goods, and the supply became very less. So that is why till now India was supplying huge quantity, but now it reduced very less, and that is why these cottage industries were totally ruined. Then impoverishment of cultivators. The farmers, they also faced huge hardship because British had introduced various new acts like permanent settlement, and under this permanent settlement, okay, it was introduced by Lord Cornwallis, and under this permanent settlement, which was introduced in Bengal, Bihar and Odisha, the land was given permanently to the zamindars. They became the absolute owner of the land, and they had to pay a fixed amount of taxes to the British. So these zamindars, they started charging huge amount of tax from the farmers because they had to keep something for their welfare, for their own profit, as well as they had to pay to the British. So whenever there was bad crop because of famine, because of drought, whatever situation was there, so these cultivators were badly ruined. Then they had introduced the Mahalwari system also. It was introduced in central India, Awadh and all these regions. Then permanent settlement, it was introduced in Bombay and other parts of South India. So these all system, okay, Ryotwari system. But nothing out of these three systems they had adopted was favorable for the farmers. Charges of taxes were very much, and the farmers, if they failed to bear the expenses, bear the losses of their crops, and no mercy was shown by the zamindars, by the British, in collecting the taxes. Because of this, these farmers were totally ruined, and these cultivators, they left their land and they started doing other work. Then inhuman treatment meted out to indigo cultivator. British, they needed the raw material for their industries, for their mills. So they started plantation of this indigo. Big farms, they were taken away by the British planters. Now they force the Indians to grow indigo, and to grow indigo on their best part of land. And if any farmers refused to grow indigo, they were treated very badly. They were given very bad treatment. They were beaten. Their family members were beaten brutally. No one could dare to say no to grow indigo. So farmers, they wanted to grow other crops, but they were not allowed. If anyone say no, then they were given very bad treatment. So these all farmers, handicraft people, cultivators, they all were totally ruined, and they played important role in the revolt of 1857. You see this drain of wealth. Whatever profit they were earning from here by selling their finished products, they were collecting the money in form of taxes, they were getting huge salary, they were having good saving, but each and everything they were taking it to England. So India's drain of wealth started with the coming of British, and it led to great crisis of wealth in India. They took huge amount of money from India, and it led to impoverishment and poverty of Indians. The money which was taken by the British, it increased the wealth of Britain and brought impoverishment in India. Unemployment, as we discussed that here, this cottage industry and handicraft, these all were ruined. Now they had put heavy taxes on Indian goods. That is why it became very costlier, and there was no buyer of Indian goods. While the British products, they were cheaper because they were producing it by machines, and it was cheaper because they had to pay less taxes. So because British goods were cheaper, so there were a lot of buyer. But Indian goods now became costlier, and in British as well as in Indian market, there was no buyer of Indian goods. That is why those who were involved in these handicraft industries, in cottage industries, they became unemployed. They were not having enough money to support their livelihood. So these unemployed people, they were having great resentment against the government. They wanted that British should be removed from here. Then only their situation will improve. That is why when the revolt took place, these all unemployed people, they were having very sympathy with the cause and participated in the revolt. Now this India reduced to agricultural colony. British wanted only the raw material from here. That is why this jute, cotton, indigo, silk, these all raw material, they started taking to England because they needed this raw material for their industries. So India was reduced to their agricultural colony, and they did not allow the Indian farmers to grow food grain for their own consumption. They forced Indian farmers to grow only those products which is required for their mills. Then annexation of rent-free land. Actually, earlier the Nawabs and kings, they had given large estate which was called the rent-free land. They have not to pay the rent. But British appointed a commission known as Inam Commission. And according to this now Inam Commission, whatever land has been given to them as rent free, they have to produce the papers. They have to produce the deeds in which king's order might be there, Nawab's or declaration will be there that such and such person has been given rent free land. But many of the zamindars, they failed to produce these papers, these deeds, and then their rent free land was confiscated and taken away by the British. So in that way all these zamindars, their land was taken away and they were not having any other source of livelihood, and they became, within short time they became landless and having nothing to support their livelihood. As well as other states in Awadh, when Awadh was annexed, so whatever land was there under the zamindars and talukdar, so thousands of talukdars, their land was taken away by the British. So these estates came under the control of British now, and these all talukdar were now landless people. So they were forced to earn their livelihood by doing labor or doing farming on other land. So they also became the supporter of this revolt of 1857 because their land was taken away by the British. Then you see that at that time number of famines occurred. From 1757 to 1857, many famines occur. And these famines were there because of hardship which Indians were facing. They were facing either because of drought, because of bad crop, because of unemployment, because of poverty. So these famines, one of the important famine at that time was big famine of 1837 and 38, in which thousands of people lost their life. Thousands of people died because of these famines. So time to time these famines were there and British did nothing to stop these famines. They took no step to improve the condition of the people. They showed no mercy at all. People died because of hunger, because of starvation. But British did not show any concern at all, and they did not reduce any taxes from the farmers, from the cultivators, from the handicraft people, and this led further to impoverishment of people. And you see that because of all policies followed by the British, either this permanent settlement, zamindari system, or the policies followed in the cottage and industries, handicraft industries, people became unemployed. There was no government help at all, no employment generated by them. So people were forced to starve. Because of these famines, thousands of people died. So in that way, thousands of farmers, handicraft people, big landlords, they lost their land, they lost their jobs, they lost their cottage industries, and there came the issue of livelihood for them. And this livelihood issue brought them a lot of misery and poverty. Their children died, their parents died in front of them because of hunger. So These all economic causes became important cause of the revolt of 1857, and those who suffered because of these British policies, they became the main supporter of this revolt of 1857. Next important cause of this revolt of 1857 was military cause. So these military causes were also mainly responsible for the revolt of 1857. As far as the military causes are concerned, the Indian soldiers, they were having the inferior status. Their status was not equal to the British soldiers. And these soldiers, they were not treated equally with the British soldiers. Their salary was not equal to the British. British soldiers, they were getting higher salary than the Indian soldiers having the same post. Their salary was more than 8 times higher than the Indian soldiers. As well as there was very low prospect of promotion of Indian soldiers. At the most, Indian soldiers could get the rank of a highest rank which the Indian could get was of Subedar. Beyond that, all higher posts were given to the British soldiers. As well as ill treatment of Indian sepoys. These Indian sepoys, they were not treated properly. They were not given equal status. If they commit any mistake, they were beaten, kicked, and abused. They were not having any self-esteem because they were given so bad treatment in army. So this treatment they met was breaking their morale. They did not want to serve the British at all, and they want the removal of British from India. That is why they became important cause of revolt of 1857. Then British had passed General Service Enlistment Act in 1856. And according to this General Service Enlistment Act, they said that British Indians, they had to serve abroad also, and they had to go other places by crossing the sea. So according to this General Service Enlistment Act, it said that Indian soldiers can be sent at other places and they had to cross the sea. So in that way, crossing the sea in Hinduism is considered a sin. So that is why this General Service Enlistment Act was opposed by the Indian soldier, because it was a sin to cross the sea. Then loss of prestige in Afghan war. British had lost first Afghan war. They lost soldiers and they were defeated very badly in this Afghan war. So this defeat in Afghan war gave a moral boost to the Indian soldiers. They realized that if they can defeat them, then if we are also united, we can also defeat the British and can remove them from India. So that is why it boosted the morale of the Indian soldier. Then there was the discontent and disaffection in the Bengal army. You know that Bengal army, there was nothing to do with the Bengal, In this Bengal army, most of the soldiers were from high caste from this Awadh region, which was disbanded when Awadh was annexed. So there was a lot of dissatisfaction in this Bengal army because first of all, many of their friends, their counterpart, they were removed from the post, and then those who were taken to Bengal, and then they participated in a war where they had to cross the Sindhu, and they did not like this also because they belong to high caste, and crossing the Sindhu river, it was against their religion. So there was a lot of discontent and dissatisfaction in the Bengal army against the policies of the British, and they became one of the most important source of revolt of 1857. Then there was the social distance between the British officer and Indian soldiers. British officers, they do not treat Indian soldiers with pride. They do not give them much honor. Their salary was low. They were having inferior status. They were not given equal status. The distance between the British officer and Indian soldiers remained at par, and they never tried to know that what problems do they have, what are their grievances, and that is why there was a gap, a bridge. There was a gap between the Indian soldiers and the British officers. Then there was a disproportion between Indian and the British troops. The number of British troops were far more than the British troops. Only few thousand, around 30,000 British troops at that time, and more than 45,000 were the Indian troops. So it was more than double of Indian soldiers, and British soldiers were very less. So it gave the Indians to have confidence that we are more in number and we can defeat them. As well as there was a faulty distribution. The distribution of British soldier was very faulty. At some places there were no British soldiers at all. At Delhi, at Allahabad, there were no British soldiers, only Indian soldiers there. So Indian soldiers, they started thinking there was no British soldier. They said that if we together revolt against them, then we can succeed. Then large number of unemployed soldiers. You see that British had annexed many of the territories, and the armies of these territories were disbanded. They were not, their services were discontinued, and they became unemployed. So these unemployed soldiers were ready to give any sacrifice to get back their jobs. So they were ready to fight against British anytime at any way. So that is why these all military causes became important cause for the revolt of 1857. And the final cause of this revolt of 1857, which became the immediate cause, it was the greased cartridges. So the immediate cause of the revolt of 1857 was introduction of Enfield rifles in place of brown bass guns, done in the 1856 by Lord Canning. The soldiers, before loading these Enfield rifles, they have to bite the cartridges from their mouth, and it was said that the cartridges which were used, these Enfield rifles, were greased with cow and pig fat. You see that cow is considered as sacred for Hindus, and pig is prohibited for Muslims. So this cartridge hurt the sentiment of both Hindus and Muslims. So the soldiers were not ready to use these cartridges because it consisted of cow and pig fat, and they have to bite it with their mouth. It means it is going to hurt their sentiment, as one is sacred for Hindus and pig is prohibited for Muslim. That is why the soldiers refused to use these cartridges, and the first incident of this revolt took place at Barakpur. At Barakpur, the first person to refuse these cartridges was Mangal Pandey. Okay, so this became replacing of an Browse-based guns with infield rifles became immediate cause of the revolt of 1857. So these were some of the important causes. In the next video, we will discuss some of the important incidents of this revolt, and then what after the revolt, what were its result, what changes were introduced by the British. We will discuss in next video. Thanks for watching. Hope you might have enjoyed this video.